Leo, Sun, Moon and Rising, this is your tarot reading for the week ahead. Are you crying over spilt milk? Are you feeling unnecessarily sorry for yourself? If you are, stop. There's the Five of Cups, which is the Lord of Sorrow, which represents exactly that. The protagonist is focusing on what isn't working rather than looking at what is. So if you catch yourself this week doing that exact thing, looking at the cup half empty rather than half full, all those things that you didn't achieve this year, all the stuff that is still yet to be done, there's no use in following that train of thought. Stop it, stop it, stop it. This is represented particularly with the Temperance card, who literally holds the two cups that the Five of Cups is ignoring. So this is a reminder of perhaps letting things go, working with what is working rather than trying to get what isn't working, moving forward and moving ahead. It's usually when our will is at odds with the divine will that we feel this sense of frustration, feel this sense of loss. So remember that any of those frustrations that might be coming through, any of those things those things that haven't worked out, whether that's on a romantic level, whether that's on a work level, whether that's just on a self-development level, remember that if it isn't in flow, if it isn't moving forward in the way that you'd hoped it would, don't take it personally. This is the important message, particularly with the Temperance card here. You can, as I mentioned, it's got the two cups and is bringing that into balance and making this magical mix of what we're really good at, what we're best at, what is working. Just taking that. So are we trying to take too much forward simultaneously? Are we in the danger of burnout because we've been trying to spin too many plates or juggle too many balls? If so, how can we hone? How can we simplify? How can we shave things off so that what we are working with works better? So often we complicate things unnecessarily for ourselves because we're trying to do everything all the time. Social media doesn't help. The modern world doesn't help with those feelings sometimes. So actually it's much more beneficial and much more useful to go, okay, I'm going to niche myself. I'm going to just work with these things and these things only, rather than trying to do it all. The image that comes to mind is a bit like a fishing net. If you cast the net wide, okay, that can be sometimes helpful because you get a lot, but actually you're kind of catching everything. Whereas if we're with a fishing pole, I don't know why I'm using fishing analogies, is what came to mind, but if you've got a fishing pole, and you can be a bit more selective about what you're actually trying to bring in and reel in. So that, use the fishing pole analogy this week as like, actually, am I just trying to catch anything and everything, or am I being discerning? Am I being selective with what I want to bring forward? Also worth looking at, particularly with the Temperance card, it's all about balance, but particularly balance on an emotional level and a spiritual level. What's your work-life balance been like recently? What is your yin and yang balance like? So yang being very active, very go, 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 rather than this yin sometimes, which is about cool, calm and collective, this passive feeling about slowing down. Have you been slowing down too much to the point of stagnation? Okay, let's bring it back up. So really start to think again about everything in balance. So gratitude and balance are probably going to be your two key words for the week ahead. Also, as if I could say all of this, I'm Leo myself, so I know how frustrating it can be. But also, you're likely to bump into some, I'm just looking for a card, you're likely to bump into some feelings of frustration, particularly when it comes to authority. You'll find that there may be a bit of red tape this week. You may find that, what you want to do is, for whatever reason, in a bureaucratic sense, you can't do it. And you might find that on an annoying level that you try to go to a shop, but it's closed an hour early, or the security guard won't let you take in your drink. So it might be in a small scale thing, or it might be in bigger things where actually what you're trying to move forward with work, you're hitting some big obstacles, some legal obstacles. It could also indicate as fun as it is when we come towards the end of the year, if you're self-employed, things like tax, VAT, it's a lot of consideration about those bureaucratic things that are outside of ourselves, that are just, death and taxes kind of stuff, the stuff that you can't avoid. I say a lot of this because you've got the Emperor card with the Justice card, and these two, as I say, a lot about legality, lots about rules, and quite dominant rules. These aren't rules that are meant to make things easy or clearer or distinct. These are rules that are at times, according to our perspective anyway, a little bit oppressive, but unfortunately also slightly unavailable. So don't be surprised, either on quite a macro scale or a micro scale or a macro scale, you might just feel yourself bumping up against authority or red tape. Not really much you can do about it except accept and surrender. Again, there's no point getting into this place. It's not personal, as frustrating as it may be. Again, are you spending time on I laugh because I absolutely hate them, chatbots, when you have to kind of, before you can then speak to an actual person on a company, all of those kind of stuff. Again, you're likely to just start feeling that bristle and brush. If anybody doesn't like to be told what to do, it's Leos. They like to have the authority. They like to lay the law rather than follow the law. And there may be times where you have to slightly tuck your tail in, do what you're told. And again, that may not very well sit right. But there's not here much about pushing against that or standing your ground or trying to dominate those forces. It's much more around, surrender, acceptance around these things. Because again, it's not a personal attack, but it may feel like it is in the moment. As we well know, Leos, how do I put this gently? They have a roar for a reason, and if they feel affronted, particularly when it comes to matters of being told what to do, not always the coolest of heads or the calmest when it comes to dealing with that. But it's great because it ends with the Lord of established strength. And this card stands with its back almost in its entirety to the rest of the reading. So there may be things that you just have to slightly turn your back towards. It's not coming from a place of ignorance or that isn't a show of even defiance or rudeness by any means. It's just, again, it's like, what dramas are we getting involved in unnecessarily? Is it more conducive and useful to keep our eyes fixed on the horizon and what is coming up next, rather than try and battle against or tackle what is being presented, those frustrations that are being presented in the here and now? For me, the Three of Wands does represent at times travel and success, but particularly about standing on the cliff edge and getting an overall sense of not only the year that is gone, but the year ahead. Again, this crosses over a lot with Aries, that part particularly, another fire sign. So again, that feeling of, and it's unsurprising really, that sense of reflection and what's coming up ahead. The difference here is there's, again, right back to the beginning, don't cry over spilt milk. So it's no use if you're thinking about what's happened in 2024 and you're feeling frustrated or disappointed by any of it. It's not to dwell on that. That's really, really key, really, really important. So despite some of these frustrations, it's keeping an optimism about what's coming up next. And how do you cultivate that sense of optimism? Because this is Sun in Aries, the Three of Wands. And that combination is about having that optimism, having that drive, having that belief system in order to keep going. That's the thing. It's like, just keep going. No point getting down of mouth or crestfallen about whatever's happened. Just keep soldering on. That's all we can really do and doing our gentle best. So I hope that helps. Be sure to check out the other videos for your sun, moon and rising. If you don't know how to discover those, I'll put a link in the description below, and you can find out and go and check out the other videos for a more rounded reading. But until next time, have a great week and see you then. Bye for now.